Hello everybody. Today we are in Palm, Pennsylvania, not too far from the currently still active part of the Perk Railroad that runs from Pennsburg to Emmaus. If you look over here, it's hard to see. Damn glare. If you see where that yellow building is, that's about right where the Palm Station once sat. Right in that area, right ahead of us, over that hill, right about where that yellow is. See that yellow side, that building? Right in that area is where the Palm Station once sat. Some time ago, come on, zoom back out. Some time ago, I did a video about the Y in Palm, the missing, forgotten, some say never existed siding or Y that was in Palm. So today, and I said there's going to be some follow-ups too and some sequels. So today, I'm kind of on site, kind of where it could have been, or at least part of it would have been. Oh, by the way, that right there in front of us, that is the Palm Freight Station, which still exists right there, before I forget to mention that. So today, I'm on location at the site where we think part of the Y would have been. So I guess you could call this part 2. I also have a little bit of interesting factoids too, some new updates, but I'll add that near the end of the video. So as I was saying in the other video, the Y on late 1800s maps, there's a couple maps that shows it. It shows it as complete, so we can assume it existed at one point in time. And then it seems like it disappeared, and when I say disappeared, it really disappeared. A lot of on maps and everything else, it just kind of stopped existing, and nobody seems to know much about it. But from what the map shows, is it would have, the one siding would have started at the station, which would have been right over there, and it would have come down. This way into this field, and then more than likely so this is the field here. So then more than likely the Y would have been right where we're looking. This is where the Y would have been. Would have come somewhere through this field. On the map it shows it going down to towards 29. So it would have been just about down to the road. And it would have went back up. Probably the other part would have been kind of near the can opener, maybe past it. It's hard to tell on the map. But like I said, the part of the Y would have started up there at the Palm Station, would have come down over the other side of these trees in that field somewhere, would have went down close to 29, and then it would have come back up that way, probably closer to the can opener, like I said. Jason got a hold of the owners of the property down there in the farm, and sometime we're going to go down there and do some exploring. I doubt anything's left to find. And I mean, if you look at the way the land's laid out here, there's no way a railroad, as that land layout is today, no way a railroad could have come in there. It just doesn't look right. But I mean, that's where it would have been according to the map. It would have come around there, it would have come down this way, it would have went across right just about over top of 29. So this is the field. This is where it would have been. Again, it doesn't look like it. It really doesn't look like the way the hill is, like it could have been in here. But according to the maps, it existed. And something else that leads a little credence, I guess you could say, to the fact that there was a Y here was the line was basically completed through here and basically completed in 1874. It was complete. But it didn't run complete the whole route until 1875 when the Dillinger Tunnel was finished. So the Dillinger Tunnel was done in 75, so it held up the line. And for all intents and purposes, this was, I mean, there's still many more miles before you get to Dillinger Tunnel, but there really wasn't anything substantial down there besides, I guess at that time, there wasn't really any passenger stations at the time. So from here to the tunnel, there wasn't too much substantial anything. So maybe there was a Y here until the railroad was completed. So maybe the Y was put in around 1872, 3, taken out after 75. I mean, that's a possibility that it could have been taken out after that time frame, because like I said, maybe the Y was here to Y the engine to take them back because it couldn't go through the tunnel. Even though the tunnel still, I forget exactly, but we're still several miles away from the tunnel. The older tunnel's down that way. So maybe that was the reason. Maybe the Y was there to turn the engine around until the tunnel was done, because this was, all intents and purposes, pretty much the end of the useful line back in 1873. A lot of the smaller stations weren't even built yet. So that's a possibility, like I said. So, eventually we're going to walk down in that field and we're going to look around, see if we can find anything. But for today, I'm just wanted to do an update here. And like I said, up there in that red brick building, that's the Palm Freight Station. And down this way is the tractor right there. And down just this way, where that yellow building is, that yellow building would have been right next to that yellow pole barn looking thing. That's where the Palm Station would have been, right in that area. Not much remains besides the freight station in that area. Some of the old houses are still there. They're still the same. Actually, you see that red building straight ahead. There's some pictures from back in the day. You can see that barn from back in the day. So now I said there was some updates that I've come to realize, or not realize, that I've found out since the last video I made. Me and Jeff Littlefield were out driving around one day, last Saturday, I think it was. We had stuff to do, and we stopped in here because across the street from here is apparently there. Well, it looks like a right-of-way. It looks like an embankment. I mean, if you look across the street here behind those buildings, it looks like it could have been a right-of-way at one time. And several of us have thought for a while that that was probably the tip of the Y, because it does show a crossing 29. It made a lot of sense. We also heard rumors that it was something for an embankment for the creek or something like that. So, never had a straight answer. Well, while we were here, we ran into one of the members of the church. This is the Palm Schwenkfelder Church. We ran into a guy who was here, member of the church. And he told us that, in fact, that embankment was made apparently in the 1930s by the Army Corps of Engineers. Had something to help divert the creek and to stop local businesses from flooding from the creek. So we did find out that in fact was not part of the railroad. It was part of a Y, not part of the Y. It was an embankment built by the Army Corps of Engineers. So that rules that out. So there goes that theory that was part of the tip of the Y remaining. So we know that's not true. He also told us, which I find interesting. Actually, I should probably walk down. Maybe later. I'll get a picture. It's not much to see. If you look across the street, you can see in the trees. It looks like it's like curves and goes behind the buildings. It's hard to see. It's probably not worth going down for a picture. So we were talking to the guy, and he said that when this church was being built, which we already knew was built in 1910, that some of the metal beams up near the cupola, up near the bell, and up in the upper floor somewhere, I forget where he said exactly, that there's actually railroad rail instead of I-beams, that they use rail in the construction in the top of the church. He said the reason was because up near the Palm Station, right up this way, there was stacks of rail that was not being used. So now, why would there be stacks of rail stacked up at a station? A couple reasons. Right around 1910, in that era, they were converting rail to 100-pound rail. That's when 100-pound rail started coming around and being popular, right in that time frame. So were they replacing the lighter 65 or 85-pound rail? And that was the old rail laying there that was stacked up after they switched it to 100-pound? Because the Perk went to 100-pound, then it went to 130-pound in right after World War II. It went to 130-pound from 100-pound. So could that be it? Or could that rail have been from the Y they tore out that was still sitting there? Because apparently they got the rail really cheap or for free. So was that rail that was used in this church from the Y? Or was the rail actually rail from when they were upgrading to 100-pound rail? But that's what he told us. He says you can go up in part of the top of the church, you can still see the rail that's been used instead of I-beams. So interesting. Another thing I'm going to follow up on, without a doubt. I'm going to definitely follow up on that. So yeah, two things of interest. Like I said, we found out that abutment we thought was an old right-of-way across 29 down there that goes across was in fact built up to protect the area from the creek, or to divert the creek, and that there's rail in this church, in its construction, that was taken from right over here, from stacks of rail that was up there. So I don't know. Interesting. All right, well, I figured I would do this little part 2. When I get a chance to go out there and walk in the field, there'll definitely be another video, and I'm sure there'll be more to come. We're still researching this. So this is, like I said, this is part 2, and thank you all for checking it out, and I'll see you later.